beautiful view of the mountains out here in Arizona as Cactus League action rolls along. The Sox today are home at Camelback Ranch to battle with the Angels. Spring training baseball is brought to you by Canals Auto Park. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Jason Benetti alongside Steve Stone. And when you talk about young talent in Major League Baseball, one of the headliners is Mike Trout.
Trout this spring is hitting the ball very well, and last year he pretty much led the way for these Angels. We'll take a look and see Mike Trout this spring. 389. He just has one home run. Don't worry. He had 41 last year. 7 runs batted in, again 90 last year. He stole 2 bases. You know, as time moves along, he's not stealing as much because he's a prolific home run threat. As far as strikeouts and base on balls, he's doing it pretty good. And so there's another player added to this team. He was traded over in the wintertime, and he's Andrelton Simmons. Simmons is outstanding in the field, one of the best in baseball. And this is a guy, you know, if you hit it to him, he's going to catch it. Look at defensive runs saved back in 13, 41. 2 years ago, 28. Last year, 25. I'm kind of surprised that Atlanta moved him, but they moved him for a couple of pretty good players. Eric Ibar was a principal in that. They got the Angels' #1 prospect, but they're going to love Simmons.
Those are Gold Glove-like DRS numbers for Simmons. Meantime, for the Sox, a final A-game start today for Chris Sale in the spring.
Chris Sale told me that he's going to go out there and he wants to throw 100 pitches. He says he wants to walk out to the mound 7 times. That means it'll probably be deep in the 7th inning. He might not finish it, but last time out, he didn't throw any sliders. And yet he fanned 3, walked 1, only gave up 2 earned runs on 6 hits. Look for him to throw a lot more of them today. Johnny Danks having a terrific spring, and he has to do that after they picked up a bit of a flaw. Deanna Navarro said, "You're tipping your pitches." And so they went, looked over it. They made just a minor adjustment, and last 2 times, 11 innings, 8 hits, no runs, 13 strikeouts, 3 walks. Johnny Danks has thrown it like he can. He's thrown it like he's battling for a job next year. And that's important because his contract runs out this year, so let's hope it works well for the Sox.
That's great news for the Sox. Chris Sale on the mound today. He'll face the Angels, who he's had success against in his career. First pitch just around the corner.
That's what he wants. He wants Hi, Junior, wave. Very good.
Hi, checking out the RAV4.
Sox have won 6 out of 8 today. They host the Angels here at Camelback Ranch. Sox at 12-8 with a tie mixed in as well. Here's the starting lineup for the Angels today. The best batting average team in the American League in spring training. They are hitting .307 for Mike Scioscia. And they begin with Yunel Escobar third, all the way down to Johnny Giavotella in the 9 position. And here's that lineup with Calhoun and Trout and Pujols 2 through 4. Crone at first, Simmons at short, then Nava Perez, and the aforementioned former Royal Johnny Giavitello. You got a defense for us, Tony?
I do indeed. Yeah, see how they're going to line up behind Chris Sale left to right. J.B. Shuck is in left today. Austin Jackson patrolling center. And Melky Cabrera in right. Matt Davidson getting his start at third base with Jimmy Rollins, Brett Lawrie, Jose Abreu around the infield, Alex Avila behind the plate, and Chris Sale on the hill. This is his second start in an A game. He says it's going to be his last start of the spring with this type of situation where he goes as long as he wants to, which would be around 100 pitches. There are the totals from last year at 13 and 11. His ERA a bit below 3.5. Innings pitched 208. The impressive statistic, 274 strikeouts.
Team record for the Sox, that strikeout number.
And the umpires today, Sue Sherwater behind the plate. Then it's Bill Miller, Doug Eddings, and Garrett Patterson in the field. It's on a beautiful day for baseball. All of that wind we've had over the last couple of days, but especially yesterday, is not in attendance here this afternoon. Once again, the clouds that had blown in now are not around. And as you can see, the flag's blowing straight down.
Yet another Chamber of Commerce day here in Arizona. They have their pick. Chamber of Commerce.
I talked to Chris about the rapidity with which he works, and he says, look, you only have two things going to happen. One is you're going to throw it well. The other is you're going to throw it poorly. And the faster you find out which it is, the easier it is to get on to the next pitch. So he likes to work quickly.
This is an Angels team the Sox will see during that second homestand of the year. So a prelude of that series. And we begin with the third baseman, the veteran Yunel Escobar. That's a fastball strike as we begin play today.
We're going to see a few more of the Sale sliders. We didn't see many, if any, of them last time out, but he said today he's going to work on that.
Second base side, and Brett Lawrie throws out Escobar one away. Well, I'm talking to Alex Avila, Sale's catcher today. He said, I'm going to call this game very much like a regular season game. No difference for the most part.
Well, then it'll be up to Chris to see if he feels good enough to throw as many sliders as he would in the regular season, because you don't get to 274 strikeouts when you have a devastating slider without throwing it a lot, and he did that last year.
One lefty in the lineup today for the Angels. It is Cole Calhoun, who takes ball one. 15 out of 43 this spring for Calhoun. Again, as we mentioned, the Angels, the best batting average in the American League this spring. Some very choosy hitters in this lineup, and a shattered bat. Shortstop Rollins on the case for out number 2. Jimmy Rollins off the shift.
They go to Abreu at first base, and you'll see what happens when a guy starts to learn exactly what to do with one hops. This is not an easy play on either end. Not an easy play for Rollins, and not an easy play for Abreu. But he didn't come out too quickly on this. He waited back and then was able to pick his hop and just exactly where he wanted to catch it. Jimmy Rollins very happy that Jose saves him an error on the second play of the game.
Here is Mike Trout. When you say come out too quickly, you mean the front shoulder leaning at the ball?
I mean the front foot. In other words, most likely being a right-handed first baseman, you're going to be on the bag with your right foot. And guys who get out too quickly with their left foot lock themselves in. They have no mobility on a throw to either side. Jose was doing a lot of that when he first got here. They've gotten to him. They've talked to him a little bit about the intricacies of it. I know that Paul Konerko worked with him, and Paul was one of the best in the business at being able to not lock himself in, have the flexibility, move to tag the base with either foot, go from side to side, and then backhand a throw, which he did exceptionally well.
After a close pitch to Trout, he lines out to Abreu. 1-2-3 inning for Chris Sale against the Angels. And we'll see the Sox, Jackson, Rollins, and Abreu coming up. During the starting to pick up at Camelback Ranch, and here's the Sox starting lineup, which is picked up throughout the spring. Austin Jackson leads it off. Abreu in the 3 spot. Matt Davidson in at 3rd for Todd Frazier. Saladino DHs, and Alex Avila is the 9-hitting catcher.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they'll line up behind Shoemaker. Daniel Nava playing left field. Then it's Trout and Calhoun, who won a Gold Glove last year, in right field. Escobar, Simmons, Giovatola, and Crone in the infield, with Carlos Perez behind the plate and Matt Shoemaker on the hill. He struggled this spring, struggled parts of last year. As you can see, 8.36 ERA. If it gets to 9, he's going to sell.
First pitch downstairs from Shoemaker for ball 1 to Austin Jackson. 3 out of 18 so far this spring for Austin, and he has been the primary center fielder since coming over. Well, Shoemaker is in a battle in that starting rotation for the Angels. The expectation was that he was going to be fighting for the 5th starter position, but injuries to C.J. Wilson, the injury to Jared Weaver, have left the Angels with some questions in that starting rotation.
I think that's been the big factor, and what Jared Weaver would like to know is if he's hurt, and he seems like he should be because he's only throwing 80, 81 miles an hour, he would like somebody to tell him just exactly what it is, why it is, and what he can do about it, because throwing 80, when your best pitch is about a 74 mile an hour change up and slow curve, there's not enough disparity between the 2 pitches. He's got to get the velocity of the fastball up so he can be the pitcher he was a few years back.
He has said that if the Angels want him to open on the DL, he'll open on the DL, but he's planning to start in that first series, so we'll see how it plays out.
I think you really have to. Apparently he's not hurt. He's dinged up a little bit with his neck, but overall not hurt enough not to pitch. And pitchers are taught, when you're not hurt, you go to the mound, and if nobody tells him, he will be ready.
2-2 to Jackson. Line drive to 3rd, and Yunel Escobar spears it for out number 1.
They were saying some great things about Escobar when I talked to some of the people from the Angels, and one of the things they said was Albert Pujols has pretty much taken him under his wing at times during the course of Escobar's career, and he's a multi-talented guy. He just has kind of lost direction, maybe lost a little bit of concentration. They think that Pujols can turn him around a bit, and if they can get the potential that he's had out of him, they're going to get a terrific player.
Well, you know, he's been a bit part player as well. He was in Washington last year. They had all of those infield questions with Desmond and Espinosa and Anthony Rendon, a lot of positions occupied, so he was basically the bench guy that was flexing in and out of the lineup. And here's a guy, Jimmy Rollins, who looks like he needs a new bat, but has played 162 games in a season. I mean, this is a very durable player, Jimmy Rollins, at least throughout his career.
And the Sox are hoping for more of the same. He's had a terrific spring. I mean, overall, you look at those numbers and you just have to shake your head for a guy who's been in the league going on 16 years.
Major shift on for him, playing him to pull. And Rollins does that deep to right field. Calhoun is back, reaching out for the wall. He leaps, and it is gone.
He tipped it out of the ballpark. Very nicely done by the Gold Glover, Cole Calhoun. You figure when you get back to the wall and you feel for the wall, he did all of that perfectly. Drifting, he felt for the wall, he knew where he was, he knew when to make his leap, but he didn't exactly think of ping-ponging it out of the yard. He's up. Can't get to it. Barely tips off the glove. And there it is. The 4th home run, tied for the team lead for Boom Boom Rollins.
4 homers, 35 at-bats for Jimmy Rollins. And the Sox now are tied for the major league lead with 35 homers this spring. Down the line and right, and foul for Abreu. Jose Abreu, who's had a very sentimental couple of days. He was watching that game in Cuba that the Rays played in and actually penned on WhiteSox.com a note regarding that game in Cuba and how important it was to him and how important the country and baseball in Cuba is to his family after being mentioned by the president in his remarks in Cuba. I remember my dream of becoming a professional player to represent my people and help those I love. Being born in a country where baseball is the national pastime gave me the foundation to become the person and the player I am today. Abreu on baseball in Cuba. And down he goes, swinging against Shoemaker. In part, his remarks, I was so blessed to return to my homeland last year as part of that baseball goodwill tour, thanks to the efforts of Major League Baseball, the Players Association, the president, and the government. That empty, dark period of my heart was suddenly filled with joy and great appreciation. He's had to leave his family behind, his son back in Cuba. And talking to Jose about it, he's extremely passionate about his country in hopes, at least at some point down the line, that he can help build an academy back at his home country and in Cienfuegos, where he grew up.
I've been around a lot of Cuban players over the course of my career, and the talent has been there pretty much through and through with all of the Cuban players. I don't believe that I've met anybody who's a better human being than Jose Abreu. He also has an approach to baseball that's so professional and a desire to make himself the best player in baseball that you don't see very often.
Melky Cabrera, a cannon to center field. Mike Trout is there to retire the side. To wrap on Abreu, the White Sox have sent word about how honored Abreu was to the White House just yesterday. Jimmy Rollins gives the Sox a 1-0 lead on a solo homer in the first.
Get ready for 2016.
Group outing is the perfect way to entertain clients, promote teamwork, or boost morale. Companies, schools, churches, and sports teams can all enjoy special group benefits when they reserve 20 or more seats. Larger your group, the larger your discount. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/group. And we say hello to all of our compatriots in the White Sox front office as well, who are enduring not sun and not warm weather today. I've heard it's rather cloudy and rainy.
I heard that
Chicago.
it might be a little snowy as we move along.
So here's Albert Pujols, who had surgery on his foot in the offseason in November, dealing with some pain near the arch on his right foot, and has not yet played the field so far this spring.
Well, they expect that he'll be ready for first base when the season starts, but that remains to be seen. He's had a lot of foot problems and pretty much felt that pain near the arch would have subsided when he left St. Louis.
Yikes. Pujols gets under it. Rollins for out number one. They close it on the weekends to help the pain subside. Here's C.J. Cron, the first baseman. Chris Sale against the Angels, 38 to third, just 7 earned runs allowed, and 4 of those 7 came on a grand slam 2 years ago from Mike Trout.
I remember that. That at bat, I believe, was in the neighborhood of 11 or 12 pitches. And he threw him finally a 3-2 changeup, and it was down. For Trout, he loves the ball down. Has some trouble with the heat up, and a lot of hitters do. But down, he kills it. And he won a protracted at bat. It was quite a battle between 2 of the stars in the game. And at least that time, Mike Trout. Mike Trout beat him.
2-0 from Sale, and he pours in a strike. Mentioned the 7 earned runs against Sale in his career against the Angels. 4 on the Trout home run. Pujols has a solo homer against him, but rallies have been minimal for the Angels against Sale.
And one of the factors, if you're not in the same division where you get to face Chris Sale 4, maybe 5 times a year, you're getting 1 look at him, sometimes 2 at the most. He's pretty tough to deal with.
High fastball takes down Cron, 2 away. Even in this era with video?
Yes. You can look at video until the proverbial cows come home, but you can't really get the feeling for the late movement of a fastball or that slider that seems to be spinning out there and all of a sudden just appears over the outside corner if you're a right-hand hitter. So you just as soon face him, but it doesn't seem to help, and especially when you just get limited shots at him.
Here is Simmons, who we told you about in the open, is such a strong defensive player. Andrelton Simmons at 12 of 37 this spring.
Yeah, they're gonna just love him as he wends his way through this season. He can pick anything. You know, he was a pitcher. He threw the ball 95 miles an hour, sometimes up to 97. They made a choice what to do with him, and they chose shortstop, which was a pretty good choice.
Past Rollins, and the first base runner today against Sale is Simmons. He's going for 2, and Simmons is done. First base runner comes, first base runner goes. Bottom 2 next.
Spring.
Young and old opening days Friday, April 8th, 3:10 p.m. versus the Indians. All fans 21 and over get a 2016 White Sox magnetic schedule presented by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner and official beer of your Chicago White Sox. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Good heads-up play by the Sox defense to end that last inning. No napping in the outfield or infield.
J.B. Shuck was the man who threw the ball into the infield, somebody who's fighting for that last roster spot, or the last couple of roster spots for the Sox. 1-1 on Laurie.
JB doing about everything right at this point of the spring. Comes into today's game hitting .303. Running is not a problem. Either is playing the outfield, which he does very well.
Simmons to Crone for round number 1. Angels last year 85-77 after the 98-win playoff team 2 seasons ago for Mike Scioscia. And the question is, how healthy will they be? Will that rotation be at the beginning of the year?
Well, first, let's take a look at Mike Scioscia, who's been around seemingly forever, made it through a lot of incarnations out of that front office, had some problems, well documented with Jerry DiPoto. And now he's there with a big say-so into what goes on, and he's got a very good coaching staff to go with one of the best managers in the game. The Dodgers have said they made a couple of very bad mistakes during the course of their history. Not too many. Vin Scully talking about it, he said one obviously was not signing Vladimir Guerrero and signing Wilton, his brother, in the same tryout camp with the same eyes looking at both. And the other was allowing Mike Scioscia to get away and not allowing him to manage, and they wanted Jim Tracy instead. So when you look at what he's accomplished, it's pretty strong, and he's got a good coaching staff, mostly former major leaguers. Gary DiSarcina, Dino Ebel, Alfredo Griffin, Dave Hansen, Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, Scott Radinsky, a former pitcher, Ron Renicky, a former manager, Steve Solis, and Paul Sorrento. Good coaching staff.
That is up 2-2. Wilton Guerrero, 11 career homers.
Yes.
That's not the same as his brother.
Not quite as many, no. I was talking with Fred Clare about that at the time, the GM.
Nice pitch by Shoemaker, and he gets Davidson looking.
I asked Fred Clare, when 2 guys come into camp and one is 6'3" and lean with a whip-like bat, the other is 5'10" and small with 2 arms, how do you let the rapier-like bat lead? He said, safe to say we probably made a mistake.
449.
I said, yes. Safe to say you did, but it's not an exact science, and you take a chance.
Strike to J.B. Shuck. He was 10 for 33 this spring. He's 2 for 3 in stolen bases, and has yet to strike out. All of those numbers suggest that he would be the type of guy you would want on a bench if you have a place.
Yes, and I believe the Sox do have a bench that has an opening. That opening would fit nicely with J.B. Shuck in it from what he did last year and what he's done this spring. And the fact is, and we talk about this all the time with role players, you have to accept that role. If you can accept that role, you can excel at that role, and J.B. has done both of those.
Giavotella finishes a 1-2-3 inning for Shoemaker. We will play the third coming back after this. Sox by a run. seeds or whatever it is. What do you like about your outing so far this spring?
Well, so far I've been able to get through 3 or 4 innings. It's been nice. Yeah, you know, last year I felt like it was a struggle after my first and second outing. I had to tell the coop, I was like, hey, make sure someone's warming up right behind me when I leave the bullpen, because don't leave me out there again to try to battle through another inning.
Well, last year you had 34 saves. You came out after a bad spring by your own admission and threw the ball pretty well most of the time. When do you like to get to the point where you're peaking as far as going into the regular season? Because we're close to the end now.
You know, I just want to feel well. Like, I want to feel like I'm throwing the ball really well, like everything's coming out right. I mean, obviously I want to have good control at the end of spring, because when you start the season, I mean, there's no excuses. You can't have any walks. You've got to be able to get the outs as quick as possible and try to finish the ball game, because the starters have been out there working their tails off, and you want to finish it for them and move on to the next game. So for me, that's the biggest thing, is control and feeling well. I mean, because once you step on the mound in a real game, everything changes.
David, almost everybody that made it to the major leagues and is a pitcher, regardless of what he currently is doing, he started his career somewhere as a starting pitcher. I assume that yours was the same case.
Not really. I've always been a reliever all the way through college. I was a closer. I mean, I started 3 games just kind of by default. But even in high school, I wouldn't have considered myself a great pitcher at the time. It wasn't until I got to college and went to the Cape and really worked out of the bullpen and kind of found my niche in baseball, and that was pitching out of the pen.
So what changed then?
Well, to be honest with you, control. I stopped walking so many people and quit trying to throw the ball by everybody. You know, when you throw 93, 92, you can't throw it by these guys anymore. You get to that point where they can time a bullet. So working on control, figuring out how to cut the baseball a little bit more, and now sink it the other way. Mixing in breaking balls, kind of catching guys off balance and getting faster outs has made it easier for me to keep moving forward, and made it easier for me to adjust the bullpen.
What's it like in the Sox bullpen as far as you guys feeling like you're a team working as one?
Well, we've got a great group of guys this year. It's basically the same group we had last year. In fact, I don't think anything's changed. We're going to have a few guys back there going to be healthy to start the season, and it's going to hopefully change overall for us as a bullpen, because now we kind of going to have some defined roles, and some guys who who were kind of working their way up are really going to show that mound time they had last year is going to help them this year.
Single for Giavitello with 2 out. I know your locker is right near Chris Sale. What do you like from watching him? What do you do when he's pitching? What do you watch?
Jeez, I mean, just watch him throw strikes. I mean, the guy's a machine out there. He, when he's calm and collected and he's down in the zone, he's as good as anybody there is in the game. And I mean, he's fun to watch.
Well, David, certainly appreciate the time. Thank you very much for joining us, and way to dodge those seeds.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That's David Robertson from down in the Sox dugout. This ball on the hit and run is pushed through by Escobar, and runners at the corners with 2 down for the Angels.
Something that Mike Scioscia likes to do a lot, and he's practicing in spring training. You're probably not going to see that too much when you've got 2 outs in an inning, but in spring training you might as well see who can do it and who can't. Escobar with a fine piece of hitting, knowing that the hit and run was on, knowing that the right side would be vacated as Laurie went over to cover. He just hit a nice easy ground ball that way. Now runners at the corners and 2 outs for the lefty-lefty confrontation.
Sale and Calhoun. First time through, Calhoun bounced out to short, and Jimmy Rollins. Lefty's career against Sale have hit a paltry 204. Last year, though, that number spiked at 250 compared to 232 for right-handers.
It's pretty amazing, something that when Chris looked at, I'm sure he decided that we're going to have to make a change. Cole Calhoun, by the way, is from just down the road in Buckeye, Arizona. So on your way home to your palatial spring training abode, you can actually pass the home and the statue dedicated to Cole Calhoun in Buckeye.
Bronze, right? It's a bronze statue.
Something along those lines. It might have been some zinc in it, you know, what with the price down and all.
A good oxide in the sun always goes well.
Last time Chris Sale gave up a home run to a left-hand hitter, September of 2012. And that was Brennan Bosch.
And a throw to first on Escobar. Escobar at first, Giovitella at third. And the Sox with the lead on the Jimmy Rollins homer in the first. One and two from Sale. And he got him strike three, down and out. Calhoun finished off, two stranded for the Angels in the third.
After the game, because the Bulls are storming the Big Apple for the second game of a home-and-home series with the Knicks. Coming up next on CSN Chicago, starting with Bulls pregame live, presented by Coors Light. And, of course, they'll be at Katz's Deli right after the game in the Big Apple.
They don't go to Carnegie Deli?
Last time I went there, it was closed.
It's reopened, right? I think it's reopened.
I'm pretty sure it has, yeah. I like the 2nd Avenue Deli that happens to be on 3rd Avenue. Would make no sense to put it on 2nd Avenue.
You know, New York's one of the few cities with half streets in the middle. You can go 2.5 Avenue. It's like a little alleyway that you walk through. 2.5.
It's good.
Saladino in as the DH today. Likely will be one of two shortstops on the Sox roster as Escobar vacuums this one up. And one down. By the way, on the Bulls, they are one game out of the playoffs right now. The Knicks are not good, so this could help today. Detroit 38-34, the Bulls 36-34. The Fighting Hoibergs.
That Shoemaker trying to harken back to the magic that he found in 2014 when he went 16-4 with a 3.04 earned run average in 20 starts. He can get close to that. The Angels are going to be a very happy club. Last year, 7-10 ERA, just about 4.5.
Ball was up quite a bit last year as Crone scoops to Shoemaker, 2 down, and we remind you that you can enjoy all the benefits of being a White Sox season ticket holder by purchasing a full and split season ticket plan. Great locations are available right now. Don't miss out on the live action at U.S. Cellular Field this season. To buy a full or split season ticket package and to view a full list of all season ticket holder benefits, visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000.
This is going to be an exciting team this year because the offense is much improved, and if you want to get the best seats, do it by getting some type of season ticket plan. They'll be very flexible with you. You'll be able to pick some games you'd love to go to, and the White Sox accommodating folks will be able to help you with that.
Call them right now. They'll take you through it.
So they will.
You're okay with the folks putting us on mute for a couple of minutes as they go through the ticket plans?
I would say for good seats, the least they could do was mute us forever. Or do something else that would be interesting. Joe Madden, you know, brought mimes into his pregame preparation at Sloan Park just down the road. And we're contemplating using mimes on a broadcast coming up, not too distant future.
Sox very soon. This being our 6th game, I figure around game 8 or so they'll start to look into mimes. This is game 7, actually. I think I misjudged. It feels like 6, but it's 7.
Well, we had an isolated number 1 game and then 5 in a row, and then here again today. Yes, we are.
This is 7
on the road.
There was a report, by the way, that the mime at Cubs camp was Bill Murray. Don't know if that was substantiated. The mime evidently looked a lot like Bill Murray.
I've worked with Bill Murray. It's almost inconceivable that he could stay quiet for any length of time, specifically an entire workout.
2-2 to Jackson is high from Shoemaker. 3-2. The Sox with the lead on the Jimmy Rollins home run in the first. Bill Murray, whose son is an assistant basketball coach at Xavier. So he was on one of those internet memes after the Xavier team lost. Bill Murray was kind of sad. Strike 3. Jackson is torpedoed by Shoemaker, who has retired 8 in a row since the Rollins homer. 1-0. We cruise along. Spring training baseball is presented by Canals Auto Parts. Kings all here today. Jim Angio, Michelle Godwin, Chris Kamka, Bill Brophy, Jason Benetti, and Steve Stone from Camelback Ranch in Glendale as the Sox lead 1-0. And a fine young talent, Mike Trout, stands in against Chris Sale. First pitch is high. We told you in the first inning that Mike Trout has a grand slam to his name against Mr. Sale.
Take a look at how low this one was. It was the 7th pitch of the at-bat. He went down, got it, and he likes his slams on the rocks, and that's exactly where it headed. So the Angels, a very happy team at that point. Chris Sale most unhappy, but he learned a good lesson. You don't want to throw Mike Trout anything down.
June 7th, 2014. Count now 1-2 on Trout. 6 walks this spring compared to 1 strikeout. You saw earlier, this Angels starting 9 today, 32 walks, 20 punch-outs in the spring.
It's pretty amazing when you have one player with the ability to do that. You don't see it too often in today's game. But when you have a whole team able to do that, you're going to put a lot of pressure on pitchers because they're going to have to use a lot of pitches to get deep in the game. Consequently, you're going to see their relievers, and the earlier you can see their relievers, especially with their better pitchers, the better off you're going to be, and you do it by taking your walks.
Pitch number 42 from Sale on the way on 3-2, and it's fisted foul by Trout. How about this? Through 652 career games, Mike Trout has 32 more homers than Griffey Jr. and 18 more than Mickey Mantle.
Both Trout and Mantle started as shortstops, only then to move to the outfield.
Right-hand side and foul once again. He'll see an 8th pitch. What do you think is his most impressive attribute?
He plays every day. He leaves it out on the field each and every opportunity. And he's actually becoming, if he can be this, he's becoming a better hitter. There's no doubt he's going to hit home runs. He's enormously strong. His speed is something that you get surprised about. I don't blame him for not stealing near as much as he can, because guys who are home run hitters and run producers, it's the rare guy that wants to sit back, take the pounding of a base stealer, and perhaps twist an ankle, get lost to the club. He realizes his value to the club, so he steals less. I'm sure that he steals just in game-winning or game-tying situations.
3-2, he swings through it. Sale gets the better of Trout for round number 1.
I'll tell you what I've been impressed with Mike Trout from the beginning is you look at a 3-2 changeup that he swings through. Good pitch, low and away, out of the zone. I've been impressed with his perspective of the game. He came in and seemed to understand what this game means to everybody who's playing it. And his ability to deal with the fact that he is slowly becoming one of the 2 faces of the game, along with Bryce Harper. I think that idea for a young man has been magnificent with him. And he has kept it in perspective. Nothing, I believe, is going to change him, because he was that way when he stepped in. He's that way now, despite all the stardom.
You're suggesting really an interesting juxtaposition between Trout and Harper. Bryce Harper is head first, headlong into just about every inning. Trout, as you're talking about the stolen bases, his first year he stole 49. Next 2 years combined, 49 steals, just 11 last year. So it seems like he's throttling down more than Bryce Harper is.
Bryce Harper, I believe, is 1 year younger. And I think, and I'm not going to tell you that he's going to mature greatly over the other year, but they're completely different personalities.
Left side of the infield and 2 away. Pujols doesn't want to test out that injured foot too much here in the Cactus League.
I like the fact that Bryce Harper can be colorful. I think sometimes Bryce Harper might want to rethink some of the things that he says, at least, but Mike Trout has never had that particular attribute.
He's won over the young fans, though.
Well, he's going to do that, because the people that grow up rooting for the Angels and the young kids that go to the ballpark and see him, I think it's one of those things where the parents take a look at him and what he does and what he says and how he does it, and they want their kids to be just like him. And that's a pretty good position to be in.
A lot of people want to be like Mike. They did before in the basketball realm. They do now in the baseball realm.
It's true.
2-1 on Crone. 2 out in the 4th. Sales allowed just 3 singles through 3 2/3. Deep to right. Cabrera is back at the warning track, and Melky Cabrera crashing into the fence puts it away. What an effort.
I think he might have hurt himself, but he caught it, hit the fence, and held on.
Cabrera, big smile. Sale as well. The Sox hang on to their lead at 1-0. Nothing, bottom 4. C.J. Cron was bidding for extra bases in the top of the inning, but Melky Cabrera kept him from them.
Melky shifting from left field to right field. Doesn't seem to have a whole lot of problems with that. He went back, made a great catch. Take a look. This ball almost sneaks out of the glove, but he's able to put it away. And then show you that he might have heard that left arm just a touch. But a great play by Melky in this 1-0 game.
So up comes Rollins. One of the keys in spring training is to stay healthy. We've talked about it all month, and Melky was testing the fates.
Especially on March 24th, realizing there's just not that much time to go before it's off to Oakland for a 4-game series. Chris Sale versus Sonny Gray in the opener.
This Angels team will see the A's tomorrow. That's scheduled to be Rich Hill versus Jared Weaver.
As Rich Hill makes the conversion from a Pensman to the starting rotation. Some of you might remember Rich Hill as he pitched for Boston. He was a sidearm, almost submariner type pitcher as he learned the pen. Now they need him in the rotation.
Inside 3-1 on Rollins, who in his MVP season back in 2007 was second in Major League Baseball with 380 total bases, second only to Matt Holliday of the Rockies at the time. Fouled off by Rollins, 3-2.
This is where general managers, their scouts, and whoever else where they get their input really come into play, is taking a veteran player, realizing he might have a little bit left, and then taking a very low-risk gamble by inviting them to spring training with a promise that if things go well, we're going to give you the best chance you're going to have. And I think that's probably how it went with Jimmy Rollins, saying, look, we don't want you to come over here and all of a sudden we're going to then tell you at the end of spring, you're either gone or you're going to be back on the bench and you'll play whenever it is you'll play. They gave him a bona fide chance to win the starting shortstop job. I'm not sure how many different teams could do that, but what a great addition to this team.
See that late in spring training. This is around the time when players will be exercising those opt-out clauses if they're not going to be on the 40-man roster. Just happened to the Royals the other day. Ross Ollendorf decided to take his opt-out. A right-handed starter, could be long man in the bullpen, who's been successful in rejuvenating his career.
Those opt-out clauses are actually very fair to both the team and the player.
Rollins to left center. Daniel Nava has out number 1. Hey, provide your guests with the ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience in the Home Plate Club or Magellan Scout Seats. These two premium seating areas are the best way to entertain your most important clients, employees, friends, or family. For more information, call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/premium seating.
I'd like to clarify my view on the opt-out clauses. That's opt-out clauses for players trying to make a team in spring training, veteran players that can opt out if they don't come to the big leagues. There's another type, however.
Trout comes forward on Abreu, and 2 down.
And the other type is, let's say you sign somebody to a 4-year deal and they have a 2-year opt-out. The reason why that isn't particularly fair to the team is if the player does very well at the end of 2 years, he opts out.
It's essentially not a contract at that point.
Well, the team, on the other hand, if the player either gets hurt or does not have a particularly good 2 years, he's going to stay in, and then the team gets all the worst of that particular deal. The players love that type of opt-out. The teams, not so much, and completely different than the one we described in spring training.
The one in spring training, as Melky Cabrera takes ball 1, the idea is to give veterans the opportunity to make a club, to essentially honor the status and give these players a chance to fit in where they can, avoiding frictional unemployment, as the economists call it.
I like that phrase.
You do?
As long as it doesn't involve me, I think it's okay.
Cabrera through the left side. Melky splits the difference between Escobar and Simmons for the Sox second hit.
Then the throw comes into the infield and bounds away, and it gives you some idea that from a pitching standpoint, if you really have no place to be, and that's the case with a man singling the center field and 2 outs, you might as well line up in the direction the baseball's coming in, because you never know when somebody airmails the cutoff man. And so that's exactly what Schumacher did. This is not a particularly good throw by Nava. The throw comes in, airmails everybody, and because he is coasting around in the middle of the infield, Schumacher's able to make the play.
Keeps Cabrera at first. 2 down for Brett Lawrie, who bounced out to short his first time up. And dives out of the zone. Lawrie swings through it. Brett Lawrie, part of this much more flexible White Sox infield this year, and you see Davidson playing third today instead of Frazier. Davidson played first base yesterday. He's played a little bit of shortstop in his career. Lawrie, second base, third base, has played some catcher, enough to say that he's been a catcher and has catching gear. There's a rocket off the glove of Giavotella. Stays close enough to the infield to hold Cabrera at second.
So just like the Angels did in the 3rd inning when they had first and second, nobody out, only to pose a threat, same thing happened here. 2 outs, nobody on, and now 2 straight base hits. Big effort by Giavotella as he flags the ball down. I don't believe that Melky would have been able to make it to 3rd anyway, but Giavotella knocked it down, and then Simmons retrieved it, and nobody is running on the arm of Andrelton Simmons. And a lot of people don't realize that that arm comes into play a couple of different ways, especially as the relay man on doubles, either down the line or into left center field. You're going to be hard-pressed to run on Simmons when he's in the middle of a relay situation.
Davidson to shortstop. There is Simmons with that smooth glove to keep the Sox off the scoreboard. After 4, 1-0 Sox.
on spring training, get ready for opening day. Take a spin on Adam Eaton's Corvette, or you can even get in it. You can hear Darryl Boston mic'd up during base running, drills, and more. CSN presents Road to Opening Day, sponsored by Apt Appliances, Electronics, and more. This is premiering Sunday at 7:30 on CSN Chicago.
We suggest that you do not ride on the hood of Adam Eaton's Corvette. You get inside of the car rather than on it.
Pretty potent automobile.
You're a car guy.
Yes, I am. I'm wondering if he can beat my souped-up Nash Rambler. 44 horsepower.
A lot of horses.
Ooh.
Jackson in center. One away. What's your favorite car? Top car that you'd like to have?
Like to have?
Yeah. Wish list. Car wish list.
Probably an original Shelby Mustang.
She's nice.
I remember her. I think I went to school with her, but
Took her to the sock hop.
That's pretty good. I certainly like that. I prefer 6-speed sticks, to be honest with you, and try to get one in just about every car that I am currently using for any length of time. Seems fun to me.
Daniel Nava struck out on 4 back in the 3rd. Line drive to left. J.B. Shuck is there for out number 2.
Sinking line drive, not a particularly easy play, but JB is able to make it as Nava got the ball off the end of the bat. Chris Sale changing speeds brilliantly here today. He's limited them to just 3 singles, 2 coming in the 3rd, where a strikeout of Calhoun got him out of the inning.
Said it earlier, Chris Sale is hoping to at least come out for the 7th inning. There's a breaking ball winding inside, 1-0.
He's only at 59 pitches, and he's about ready to wrap up the 5th inning, so he should be right on target, in pretty good shape.
Monday, April 4th, the opener coming ever closer. Sox have a couple of exhibition days in San Diego, then off to Oakland for that 4-game set, home for the Indians for 3, and back on the road at the Twins. You get an off day in Minneapolis. Enjoy the Mall of America.
Very nice.
Then 3 in Tampa before coming home for the Angels and the Rangers. This one ends up in left. Carlos Perez singles with 2 down. That is the 4th hit of the day for the Angels, and all of them have come with 2 outs. So 1 on, 2 out for Johnny Giavotella. By the way, current temperature in Minneapolis, Stoney, just so you can get ready and pack properly, 45 degrees.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. Of course, it's probably going down to 10 tonight.
Yeah, the low forecast to be 26.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect.
Davidson across the diamond for out number 3. Perez stranded at first, and the Angels are finished in the 5th. Halfway there, Sox lead 1-0.
March's matchup.
Postings across Major League Baseball because of injuries. Which is the most important to you on this list?
For the Dodgers, because they are thin, the two, Brett Anderson, especially Andre Ethier, those are very important. It's hard to say that it's not terribly important to St. Louis, losing Johnny Peralta at least for a half a year, and who knows how many more. Brad Boxberger, the guy who saved 41 last year, when they traded one of their erstwhile closers and they moved along a hard-throwing left-hander to Colorado, Brad Boxberger was the guy. Well, right now he's not going to be the guy, at least for some time. And if Edwin Encarnacion is down for any length of time, it's got to hurt Bautista because he gives him a lot of protection behind him.
We've seen the opposite of that with Todd Frazier in the lineup now for Jose Abreu. That will bolster, you'd imagine, Abreu's numbers. But Jake McGee, you're talking about going from the Rays to the Rockies. He's in a battle now for the closer spot, and he might be wondering, boy, what if I just stayed and had the opportunity to jump in there? Up the middle from J.B. Shuck. And the Sox have their fourth hit.
Well, here's something that Robin likes to see. We got an opportunity now to see just exactly what Saladino can do. You have a number of options. Shuck has good speed. You might want to see if Saladino can use the hit and run, if he is capable of taking a pitch early in the count, even if it's inside, and hitting it to right field. And to do that on an inside pitch, you have to hit it inside out. Let's see if Robin has something cooking here early.
Of the guys on the roster this season for the Sox, of the guys that are generally expected to be in the mix to make the roster, Saladino has one of the lowest swing and miss rates for his career at about 18%. So you'd imagine he'd be a strong hit and run contender. At least is that one piece of evidence. He makes contact but flares it foul with Shuck on the move.
I applaud the move by Robin.
You do?
Yes.
You didn't clap. I mean, we didn't hear it.
No, it was
mental applause.
More, yes, more an internal applause. And as far as that swing and a miss, you were right on there. But I noticed that book that you got it from. Did you wash that book?
There was a spill.
Yes.
Throw to first. Shuck is back. It's a little rocky, but it gets the job done. Paper is paper. Steve, thank you for asking, though.
No, it just looks like perhaps you might have done some of that.
It's a fairly large notebook to have lost in my pocket in the washing machine. But we find a way. And you've never done work while drinking water at the same time and had a little bit of a mishap?
No, I do most of my things in a hermetically sealed booth so that nothing gets on anything I'm writing on.
One strike to Saladino. And he hits this one in the air, back of home. Crone is there for out number one. What you don't know is we cryogenically freeze Steve after every game to have him ready for the next one.
You also might not know that the cranium of Ted Williams is cryogenically frozen just down the road in Scottsdale.
Down the road a piece, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
What became of that? Is that something that's still being funded?
I believe that it's still there.
Wonder how much that costs daily.
$1.20, $1.30 maybe.
Chris Kampka, you think that 13 dimes a day.
That's why
for
they
just
that's why
$1.30 a day. You can.
That's why they just kept the head.
Chris Kampka in the trucks tells us he's read the book about this, and he says it's very fascinating.
That's light reading for Chris Kampka.
Well, actually, it's heavier when you make it into a solid. Shuck back to first.
Outfield pretty much straight away. The infield in that radical shift. One you might expect for Alex Avila, who is a dead pull hitter.
Avila, who like Brett Lawrie was part of the 2008 draft class. They came into the league together. Shuck at first, one down. Shoemaker, maybe his best start of the spring so far. Runners off, and Avila fouls it away. Again, we were talking about that 2008 draft class. Avila and Laurie are actually two of the most effective players from 2008. Posey has the clear lead. Laurie second, Avila sixth in terms of wins above replacement.
Well, Brandon Crawford, if he keeps doing what he's been doing, and we saw him in yesterday's game, Brandon Crawford has hit 21 home runs last year. That was leading the ball club in home runs, and the first time a Giant shortstop has led a ball club since in the neighborhood of 1909, something along those lines. So he's getting better and better. That was a very productive class.
Yeah, Avila, without the injuries, if he was healthier, those numbers would be significantly higher, and you'd wonder exactly what would have played out for him in Detroit. 1-2. And a throw to first. He had a 19 home run season. There's good power in that bat.
We were searching back and looking through the archives, and it turned out that the last time a Giant shortstop led the team in home runs, Bill Dahlen in 1905.
Outside, off the glove of Perez. Shuck takes the opportunity to race to second. And a runner in scoring position on a wild pitch from Shoemaker.
That's how you can throw a wild pitch without throwing it in the dirt, is have it slip out of your hand and sail well wide of the plate. So Perez had a shot at it, couldn't quite corral it. He was nestling inside for that fastball. Long way to go, so rightly so, it is a wild pitch.
How do you keep that from happening?
It just happens. It's something that you either use, a lot of people will use the rosin bag to try to dry off your hands, but occasionally it just slips.
2-2. Now 3-2. Still no walks for either pitcher in this game. Avila has 7 so far this spring, and Austin Jackson wants a chance.
Avila out of the University of Alabama.
Avila wanted to check it up. Ball in the dirt, and Perez completes the out. Number 2 of the inning. Join us for opening weekend at U.S. Cellular Field. First 20,000 fans, Saturday, April 9th. Get a White Sox winter hat presented by Comcast Sportsnet. Visit whitesox.com to purchase your tickets today and get one of those lovely, comfy, cozy, keep your ears toasty hats.
And you better be one of the first 20,000 fans in attendance.
If you're 20,001 and we reminded you all spring long, you have no excuse.
I'm going to certainly make sure that you have at least 1 or 2, depending.
2 hats?
Yes, because you'll need them when I give you a lift to the park with the windows down to get a little fresh air.
That is what Uber's for. I'm not riding in your ice mobile. I need a second hat, by the way, because you probably steal mine.
I'll charge you half of what Uber charges you.
No matter what the price?
Well, no, what Uber charges you to go to the airport, I'll charge you half to take you to the ballpark.
That's very kind of you. I'm told by Jim Angio in the truck that I am subject to the Cy Young surcharge by accepting your ride.
There is absolutely one of those. Nice job, Jimmy. I didn't think of that. You know what? You're going to become my business manager from now on.
Great. Steve's got another opportunity for somebody to help him siphon off a couple bucks from me. 1 ball to Jackson. Smack foul. 1-1. Shuck at second off a single and wild pitch combination. Sox have their only run on a Jimmy Rollins solo homer as batter number 2 in the home first. 1-1 to Jackson. Tails away. 2-1 from Shoemaker.
Just missed the outside corner with either a slider or a little cutter.
Grounded foul by Austin Jackson. Shoemaker is a little bit of an odd case. His walk per 9 inning rate historically is 2.3 in the minors. In the majors, it's 2.0. He's got a better walk per 9 rate in Major League Baseball than in minor league baseball.
Could very well be that when he mastered the straight change being his second best pitch, when he mastered that, he was able to get things over the plate a bit more. And there is an oddity about the straight change that probably will help you with your control.
Jackson over second, base hit. Shuck will score easily. Jackson guns it for second, and he's in there sliding with an RBI double. 2-0 Sox.
Good hustle by Austin Jackson when he saw that Trout was going away from the throw and realizing that he doesn't have an overpowering arm. He took off for second, put pressure on Trout, driving in his 3rd run of the spring. But you see, Trout, he got to it quickly enough. Again, he doesn't have a gun in center field. And so Austin Jackson had all the best of it. An outfielder running away from his throw, having to do a 360 spin to get it there, and couldn't get it there in time.
Well, because Austin Jackson has bounced around from a couple teams to a couple other teams, from the Yankees to the Mariners to the Tigers, kind of get this belief that he's up in age. I mean, he's 29 right now. You see the speed is still there.
And here's an example again of Rick Hahn and the scouts. Everybody knows what Jackson can do. Then you ask yourself, well, how would he fit into our ball club? And it became obvious that when you can get a guy that can get him alley to alley, doesn't miss much, and will come through with the occasional big hit because he's played in some big games, not much to lose.
That one not hit on the screws. Escobar to Crone, and Rollins is retired, but the Sox get a 2-out run. Jackson drives one in against Shoemaker. 2-0 Sox after 5 in Glendale.
If you love baseball.
Chris Sale has been magnificent. He's done everything he wanted to do. He's gotten that slider over the plate. He's thrown a lot of straight changes, kept the ball down, mostly out of the strike zone when he has to go get hitters. And all in all, I think Chris Sale is very happy with what's happened so far. He's hoping to get at least 2 more and hoping to get 100 pitches.
Ball 1 to Yunel Escobar, who singled off of Sale in the 3rd, bounced out to 2nd in the 1st. That one stayed up, and Escobar clocks it to left down the line. This is a fair ball on one hop into the corner. And a double for Escobar. 6th double of the spring in 40 at-bats for Escobar.
Escobar, another Cuban player, got here in 2004. Hit this changeup off the end of the bat, so he doesn't get it well. But he puts it in a perfect spot. As it rattles around in the corner, he is content leading off the inning to stay at second base.
Brings up Cole Calhoun, who's nothing for 2 today with a strikeout and a ground out. This may score the first run today for the Angels. Nope, stop sign for Escobar. And runners at the corners, nobody out the 6th.
Calhoun picked on the first pitch as Chris got one up. He was looking fastball. He was trying to pull it because even if it's a ground ball, he certainly wants to move Escobar to 3rd. Does a nice job.
That leaves 2 on and nobody out for Mike Trout, who lined out in the 1st and struck out in the 4th. It was a long at bat in the 4th. 9 pitches for the Sale strikeout, his most recent strikeout. "47 homers last year for Mike Trout. 41, I should say. 41 homers. He was the first 40 home run guy for the Angels since Troy Gloss hit 47 back in the early 2000s. Trout deep to left field. Shock at the wall, and the Angels have the lead 3-2.
The second home run of the spring for Trout. He now has driven in 10. And that gives the Angels the lead. Avila wants it low and away, and unfortunately, Chris gets it in the sweet spot. He throws it low and in. We told you about low pitches to Trout. They go a long way.
Second home run for Mike Trout against Chris Sale. We showed you the grand slam from 2 years ago. And the Angels have their first lead. Both Escobar and Calhoun come across. And the second homer for Trout this spring. One twists inside on Pujols. Sale with his 5th strikeout. Join us at U.S. Cellular Field throughout the 2016 season for free T-shirt Thursday. First 10,000 fans at every White Sox regular season home game get a specially designed White Sox T-shirt on Thursdays. To buy your free T-shirt Thursday tickets, visit whitesox.com. C.J. Cron is 0 for 2 against Sale.
Cron does have big power to the opposite field, both right and right center field.
Cron jacks this one to left. And it's gone. 4-2 Angels.
one also has big power to left field. That's his first home run of the spring.
Sale has seen a couple pitches stay up on him here in the 6th. Strike one to Simmons. Abreu at first. Backpedaling toward the line. 2 down in this 6th inning. So Chris Sale had allowed just 4 singles through 5 innings. The Angels have a double from Escobar, a single from Calhoun, the Trout 3-run homer, and the Cron solo shot to make it 4-2. Inside and low to Nava.
80 pitches so far for Chris Sale. And just want you to know that after some technical difficulty with my phenomenally expensive microphone, I am back. It's like the Phoenix bird rising from the ashes.
There's the blow out the budget microphone. Did you really need the gold flecks on it, though? Did you need it encrusted with gold? That's a little overdone.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get a microphone that can go the distance sometime soon.
2-2 from Sale to Nava. So now that you're back, what'd you think of the pitch to Cron that ended up in the solo home run category?
C.J. Cron is a very strong young man. And we've seen it twice today. Once he almost took the ball out of the ballpark to right, this time way back to left field. I think Chris is of the mind that he wants to get the pitches in. The end result doesn't matter particularly.
Los Angeles fans living in harmony here in the crowd. 3-2 on Nava. So you don't think the results here, you don't think that's going to bother Chris Sale?
I don't think he'll care in the least. He realizes at the end of spring training you're going to wipe all of this away. Doesn't matter what happened, good or bad.
First walk of the day taken by Nava, his 9th of the spring. And it brings up Carlos Perez. That's pitch number 86 for Sale.
Yeah, last year when Chris Sale set the all-time White Sox strikeout record in just 208 innings, he struck out 274. He didn't have much of any spring. And so when he started the season, it was like starting spring training again. So regardless of what happens here, if he comes out of this healthy, he's going to be much ahead of the progress that he made last year. And he figures at 13-11 should be a much bigger year this year. He's going to have a better team and a better defense behind it.
Upgrades defensively at third, Frazier and Laurie at second. Saladino and Rollins at shortstop. Down the pike for a strike to Perez. Pitch number 23 of the inning on the way. And he spears it right up the origin to finish off the Angels in the 6th. Escobar started it with a double. Trout and Cron provided the home run power. It's 4-2 after 5.5. this year where we asked Steve how you did against some players in your own career. Your memory has been pretty good about your own ability in baseball. We'll check it today. Rod Carew is today's edition. How do you think you did against Rod Carew, the former Angel?
Nobody got out Rod Carew too often.
Oh, now you're just setting yourself up for...
So I would assume that it's no worse than 9 for 25. Is this on the air?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no worse than 9 for 25. I don't think he hit a home run off me, and I think I only struck him out once.
Well done.
Was I close?
Without any graphical representation to help you out. You're just stirring the pot, aren't you? Always.
I would say against him, 9 for 25 isn't too bad. He was a devastating hitter. He was something.
In your Cy Young season,
yes,
Rod Carew was only 2 out of 12 against you, though, I don't know if you recall, the Angels hit you pretty well that year.
They hit me literally. Bobby Grich hit one off my thigh that still hurts. And that was in 1980.
2-0 on Abreu. Sox trying to come back after a 4-run top of the 6th for the Angels. Why was Rod Carew such a tough hitter? What did he do uniquely?
He got down in a severe crouch. And that was something that, when you shorten up your strike zone, there's just not many pitches and places that you can throw to get it by him. That was number one. Number two, he didn't have to hit the ball hard to beat you. And often didn't. I mean, he would just peck the ball. He was a great bunter. He could bunt with 2 strikes on, which he did quite often. He just had phenomenal eyes. You couldn't really fool him very much. And that was one of the reasons why he was as good as he was. Also, short series in Baltimore, he was hitting .600 against Jim Palmer, and Earl Weaver said, you're going to throw him a slow curve every pitch. Rick Dempsey, the catcher, you're going to tell him what's coming. And so Palmer says, well, what are you doing? He says, he's hitting .600 off you. Whatever you're doing, it's not right. So he went up the first time, and Dempsey said, hey, Rod, slow curveball. So Rod looks back at him. You just didn't do that. And boom, slow curveball. And next pitch, he goes, hey, Rod, slow curveball. And Rod looks back to him and said, are you lying to me? No, I'm telling you, Rod, slow curveball. Missed it again. Third pitch, he said, slow curveball. Well, now Rod's getting a little upset, but he throws him another slow curveball. He taps it in the infield. Second time up, the same thing. He went 0 for 4, and he was screaming at Dempsey before it was all over. Quit telling me what's coming. He says, you know what's coming. It's a slow curveball. But that was the only way they could deal with him.
Couldn't hit it.
Aggravate him.
Told him what's coming.
Yep.
Couldn't hit it.
Here it is. It's coming.
Unreal. Here's Melky, who singled back in the 4th to left field against Shoemaker. It's the time of the spring where you start to see more at-bats and a lengthier time for the starters in the batter's box. And also the time of the spring when cuts start to happen and you trim the roster toward that 25 as you head to the first series of the year.
That's why it's so important and so gratifying to see Melky starting to really hit the ball and swing the bat well. That's happened really over probably the last 5-6 games where he's starting to come alive again. His bat looks lively. He looks like the second half of the year Melky. First half was not good. It was like the beginning of spring, but he's getting better as things are getting closer.
Tyler Skaggs getting loose for the Angels. This would be his first game action since 2014 off of Tommy John surgery. End of the bat shot for Melky in the air left side. Escobar out number 1.
Skaggs is a very important member of this team. If he can come back and show he's 1, healthy, and 2, he's anywhere near the stuff that he had. They've had him twice. They thought so much of him that they traded him away, and then they got him back. He's a big lefty that they believe the sky's the limit as far as his ability. Now they have to see just how much the injuries have taken away from him. But he is a potential starter in a rotation that has been somewhat decimated by injuries, and they have a couple of injuries waiting to be diagnosed.
That includes Jared Weaver, who as we mentioned earlier, doesn't have the velocity that he used to, with a fastball right around 80 at this point.
Yep.
Career high 16 homers last year for Laurie, who's got a couple so far this spring. We will next see you in a couple of days, Saturday. That's an earlier start time, 2 o'clock Central, noon Pacific, out here in Arizona, as the Sox will go against the Cincinnati Reds, who they will see once more on the 30th this spring. Laurie to center field. This ball carries, and it is gone. We are tied. Brett Laurie drives one out.
Laurie's third of the spring. He now has driven in 6. This appears to be the big difference between last year's team and this year's team. Is the fact that it doesn't take too long, if you can hit the ball out of the ballpark, to come back and tie up a game. This is a hook. He reached down, he got it. Trout runs out of room, and just like that, tied at 4. And I would certainly mention, but I won't, that this is a brand new game, because my partner would chastise me about the brand new game issue. Only be reminded on Twitter that it was indeed a brand new game, something along those lines, so we won't even go into that.
You know, the best thing about you is that you don't hold a grudge.
Well, that's true. Yes. And I'm still bitter about Gabby Hayes.
You can use that phrase all you want now. Brand new ball game, whatever you want to do.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. Ball to strike on Davidson. I don't know what you're smiling about. I'm not happy. Underside of that bus has a lot of axle grease.
The game tied at 4.
2-1. Davidson. Fly ball to right. Calhoun is under it. 2 down. You know, it's almost refreshing to hear Matt Davidson talk about his last couple of seasons. He's had some chances in AAA, a lot of strikeouts. He says, look, I've had some terrible seasons offensively. And what's funny is he was never really known as a great standout defender. He learned playing the field. He was a pitcher growing up in high school. Learned the field late. And he said, the home runs for me the last couple of years have been great defensive plays. So he's had to rely for confidence on his defensive effort. Now it's a positive to see his spring offensive numbers getting back to the position where he hoped they'd be. And now maybe the whole thing comes together for him.
One of the things we heard about him was that he was getting better and better at third base. And if you're going to get here, you're going to have to do that. Now, at least for a couple of years, third base is going to be ably manned, so he's going to have to look for some flexibility. Todd Frazier's not going to go anywhere, and that's one of the reasons why they've put Davidson and let him take some ground balls, some situations at first base. Because again, if you can expand what you can do, you can find a spot on the ball club, especially if he's going to hit the ball as well as he's hit it this spring.
2-1 to J.B. Shuck, who singled and scored last time. He flares this one to the outfield, and Trout to finish off the 6th inning. But 6,302 folks saw Brett Laurie tie the game. A 2-run homer puts us 4-4 to the 7th.
His introduction in professional sports throughout the 90s, the Bulls' starting lineups were the ultimate opening act of a team who became a universal phenomenon for all time. Hear how the little-known song and the voices behind the mic turned the Bulls into professional sports pioneers. Tonight at 10, only on CSN Chicago.
Got a tweet yesterday from somebody claiming to be Ray Clay. Saying he's Ray Clay.
And Zach Putnam into the game at 1-0. This is his sixth appearance. Last couple have been pretty good. His ERA .579. It is sinking, and he's 1 for 1 in save opportunities. So left-handers have yet to get a base hit off him.
49 games each of the last 2 years. A stalwart in the Sox pen. One Cliff will pinch it for Escobar next as the Angels dip a little deeper into the bench.
You might remember Giovitella with Kansas City. He was a recipient of the 2011 Board Award. That goes to the organization's top hitter. Before finding his the Angels.
Putnam low again at 3-0. Sock bullpen shape. Talk to Rob. Good to Sox tomorrow will play at the Mariners in lovely Peoria, Arizona.
Yes.
Then we'll have on Comcast Sportsnet the game against Cincinnati, Carlos Rodon against Brandon Finnegan. There was a lefty named Brandon Finnegan. Liner into left field. That is a base hit. Quick throw to third is not in time. Close from J.B. Shuck on the delayed move from Giovitella. And first and third for the Angels.
I think Johnny made a mistake, and I think Ron Renicky is letting him know that probably don't want to run in a situation like this. Shuck does a nice job getting rid of the ball, and Giovatelli in just ahead of the tag. That certainly is aggressive base running, but you want some selectivity in your aggressiveness.
You want to be aggressively selective.
Yes.
Or selectively
aggressive. Either way, it works.
Do you end up with the same result is the question, though? Because if you're selectively aggressive, you're going to, in spots, be very pushy. But if you're aggressively selective, you're just going to choose more spots. Aren't you?
Wow. Well, I guess it's a case of semantics.
How many antics? Cunningham batting, and he fouls it away with the runner Navarro on the go.
And Mike Scioscia continues to use the hit and run. We'll have to check into, and I'm going to go into that particular clearinghouse in Omaha that I use all my tweets. I'm going to check on the difference between selectively aggressive and aggressively selective.
Is that in the old market area, your clearinghouse in downtown Omaha, or is it
very close to where the steaks were, the Omaha steaks?
All of the steaks kept in one place in Omaha. Little known fact. Cunningham, switch hitter, batting left against Putnam, and a throw to third on Giovatelli.
This is something the Sox are doing a whole lot more. We saw a pickoff at first base with runners at first and second going behind the lead runner and picking off the man at first. That was executed perfectly by Jose Abreu at first. And now a pickoff at third. So perhaps the team has decided to show scouts a whole lot more as far as things to worry about during the regular season.
0-2 on the former Braves farmhand Todd Cunningham. You've said that before. Just showing it,
that's it,
forces teams to think a little bit more.
And they can't get as comfortable on the base paths because you never really know. That shortens up leads. Shortening up leads means that that extra step that you are not getting might turn into an out, where before it would be a run. So anything you can do to shorten leads, even a half a step, is a good thing to do.
Matt Albers is getting ready in the Sox pen.
Last time we saw Matt, he was throwing it pretty well.
Strikeout would be mighty nice for Putnam here. 1-2 is a pitch out. Crafty, the Sox here in the seventh.
Knowing that you're dealing with one of the most aggressive managers around in Mike Scioscia.
Rafael Ortega on deck for the Angels.
Robin decided to employ the pitch out.
Two and two in the dirt. How much of this is a setup for not even just the advanced scouts, but for essentially having it be a message to the other manager for regular season play? At all?
Well, I think you just want to show the other teams that you have this in the bag. You might not use it, but you do have it. In the case of Mike Scioscia, he loves to use the hit and run. He loves to bunt. In fact, when his team started to fall on hard times, it was because he didn't have near as much of a say-so in the assemblance of his team. He was getting more sluggers, more ponderous sluggers, less runners, less guys capable of hitting and run.
To first, the throw home by Abreu, and the run down for Giovatelli, who is...
Well, he's going to be safe because he was knocked off the bag. So he was safe at first, and then he got run over. Not a particularly good effort on that because they had him hung out dead to rights. And it does go as a fielder's choice. We'll watch it again. Nice play by Abreu. He comes home realizing his only play is not the double play, but the lead runner. And then Giavotella goes back. Well, that's something they don't want to repeat, but something that happened.
Well, that's one way to take a guy off the bag there. My gosh. So Ortega will bat with the bases loaded. The fielder's choice gets Giavotella back to third safely. And this is foul. You know, you're talking about the types of players Mike Scioscia had. And just recently, Sean Figgins signed a one-day contract to retire as an Angel. He kind of typifies that type of player who helped Mike Scioscia.
And Eric Ibar, another type of player like that. But all of a sudden, they started to bring in Albert Pujols, certainly a terrific hitter, but a guy who surprisingly can use the hit and run, just doesn't run when he gets on base. They brought back on a ill-fated deal Josh Hamilton. That didn't work out particularly well, and slowly they just didn't have the kind of team that Mike Scioscia would have liked, the kind of team they had when they won it all in 2002. And they paid the price for it for a while.
Bases loaded against Putnam. Top of the seventh, 1-1. Fades outside, 2-1. Angels got all four of their runs last inning. Mike Trout, 3-run homer. C.J. Cron. Two batters later, a solo shot. This gives the Angels the lead. Shuck cuts it off. One is in. A second one scores.
Plays that aren't made are costly. The inability to get an out on a ball that stayed in the infield for the present leads to 2 runs and a 6-4 Angel lead.
Ortega drives in the 2, and Nick Buss takes a strike. Buss, who played 8 games with the Dodgers 3 years ago for his only major league time, swings through the 0-1. Cabrera in right. Out number 2. So Gregorio Petit will bat for Simmons. And we tell you that you can enjoy U.S. Cellular Field just like a player. Play catch in the outfield, warm up in the bullpens, visit the dugouts, and much more. Join us for Family Field Day on Saturday, May 14th, and support Chicago White Sox charities. To purchase tickets, visit WhiteSoxCharities.org. Matt Albers summoned. The Sox go back to the pen, down 6-4. They love Mike here in Arizona, and Jose Abreu as well. Sox and Angels in a 6-4 ball game so far. Jimmy Rollins has a homer that you might have needed binoculars to see. Well hit. Sox go to the pen one more time. Matt Albers, Tony.
Matt Albers threw the ball exceptionally well last time out, and he's done it this entire spring. On for the 5th time, no ERA. Just 2 hits in 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, a walk. His best pitch, the good hard sinker. He gets late movement on it. When he's right, if you hit it at all, you beat it into the ground. Except for that one, which you foul into the seats.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Strike 1 to Gregorio Petit. If you're a bullpen guy, a pensman, as you like to say.
A pensman, yes.
What are you doing in the bullpen that's maybe different in spring training than you would in the regular season? Focusing less?
There's a whole lot of guys that are not in the bullpen on a daily basis because they're not going to be used. So that's one of the things that differs is during the season you're in the bullpen each and every day, meaning you're watching all of what's going on, or ostensibly watching all of what's going on, and maybe a little more observant about what's happening depending on what role you play, when you're going to come into the game, when things are assigned to you. But the bullpen, what makes it a good bullpen usually is they work as a team. And you'll have guys, you know, there's no way in the world that they're going to get in after the 7th inning. Depending on that, unless there's a blowout game. But there's assignments now in the pen. Everybody does indeed have a role.
Bounce it at third. Davidson at the line. Strong throw to retire the side, but the Angels do retake the lead. They do it on the benefit of a couple of hits. 6-4 at stretch time. Wish there was a water use ban in Arizona.
Hey, he's getting into it.
Please, no sprinklers on Thursday afternoon.
My favorite dance during a drought. As you look at Tyler Skaggs making his first appearance of the spring, his last Major League appearance was July 31st of 2014.
It's normally not what they mean by deadline day. Tommy John surgery, now back.
He decided to originally sign with the Angels after contemplating Cal State Fullerton in 2009. The Angels gave him $1 million.
Out of lovely Santa Monica, California.
And he was traded to the Diamondbacks for Dan Herron, then sent back to the Angels in a 3-team Mark Trumbo trade. Trumbo now with the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks, by the way, not only having a great spring, but they feel that they're going to make it uncomfortable for the Dodgers and San Francisco in the West. They're a pretty confident bunch, those Diamondbacks these days.
Steve, I think their magic number is down to something like 2 for the Cactus League trophy.
Yeah, well,
18-4.
this would be an absolutely devastating loss for the Sox because at 12-8 they still had more than a mathematical chance, but grabbing that Cactus League trophy and all that it embodies is something that every team aspires to.
We suggest that you do it with gloves on, however.
You have to do that, yes.
Cactus trophy.
A nasty little guy.
The thorny crown, if you will. And we will. Two and two.
And all eyes on the scoreboard for the Sox as the Diamondbacks leading San Diego 5-4. That game in the middle of the 6th.
Wonder if words trickled through the clubhouse yet. Saladino in the air to right and Ray Navarro for out number 1. Hey, by the way, you hear the name Paul Konerko. People wondering what he's up to.
Yep.
He was at Wayne Gretzky's fantasy camp in Vegas showing off his hockey ability. How about that?
Paul can play, by the way. He loved hockey. Loves hockey. I think he, however, did pick the right sport. Certainly he has all of his teeth left and occasionally takes in a ball game. Although it looks like he has put on a few LBs.
This one out to left. And Avila is retired. For those who are interested in such things, the Wayne Gretzky Fantasy Camp website says, ever dreamed of being passed to by 99? And then the second line says, or chirped at by Jeremy Roenick. So evidently it's the real live thing out there in Vegas.
It's serious stuff.
Said that Navarro made the catch out there in right field. It actually is Navarro in at second base. There have been 19 changes this half inning. Buss is in right, so apologies to the Buss family. Their young man made a fine play in right.
I thought it looked a lot like Nick Buss. That's why I was
quizzically staring at me.
Yeah, you know, that's de rigueur, as they say.
You have fantastic eyesight for Angels reserves. We've always said that about you. Second string Angels come into focus for you very clearly.
I spend most of my evenings, by the way, looking at pictures of all the second and third teamers. Just so when a situation pops up like that, I got it. And it's out of the inning.
Always prepared, Steve Stone. 6-4 after 7. Tony, what's your headline news right now in spring training for the Sox as we go to that first series?
I would think it would be that the Sox are hitting the ball out of the ballpark. That power is back after last year, a dismal year hitting home runs. This year, it's not going to be the case. A lot of additions to the team. Most of them hit the ball out of the ballpark. 19 different Sox have hit a home run this spring. But it's the guys who are going to be there when the bell rings that are hitting it the best. And I do believe that that's going to be a huge factor heading into the season. I'm not sure if there's going to be too many teams in our division with more raw power than we have.
Well, it's the Sox and the Tigers head-to-head for the top home run number in spring training in Major League Baseball this year. Sox have a Laurie homer today and a Rollins homer. Matt Albert is on for his first full inning of work, and you're talking about all the home run hitters for the Sox, and the variability is the real good news.
And the tie is between Davidson and Rollins for the team lead. Jason Coates. You take a look up and down, and you find some guys who are going to be here, some guys who are not going to be here, but a much improved offensive Sox team.
136 homers last year. And you have to imagine, you don't know how much it's going to increase, but that there will be a significant increase, especially if the health stays top-notch, as it has been for years with the Sox. Albers, strike three.
Matt Albers has finished 88 games without a save. That's second most in Major League history, which is somewhat surprising. Ryan Webb has the most games finished, 98 without a save. And let's announce that we're doing win trusts on a routine out.
That's the behind-the-scenes look, brought to you by Steve Stone.
It's just a precursor, or a segue, so to speak.
You ever ridden on a Segway?
I have. Not well. Fell off pretty quickly.
This ball stroked to left center field and a one-out single. That was not a routine out. Jim Angio wants to do win trust anyway.
He's nothing if not flexible. Sox fans, show your team pride with White Sox checking and an official White Sox MasterCard debit card. Only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Member FDIC is Wintrust.
Outstanding ad-lib by you.
Thank you.
Especially with it being written out for you.
It's the least I could do.
The very least.
After I sounded it out phonetically.
Runner on and one out. Sox have full defensive changes as well. Travis Ishikawa is in at first. Carlos Sanchez at shortstop. Jerry Sands in left. Jacob May in center. Jason Coates in right. Hector Sanchez is catching, among others. Gerson Montilla is in at second base. And he gets a shot to start a double play, which he does for 6-3. That'll do it for the Angels in the top of the eighth. 6-4 game going to the home half. We remind you that White Sox Spring Training Baseball is live on your smartphone and tablet with the MLB.com at Bat app. Customize at Bat to feature the White Sox and stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, up-to-the-moment news, and much more. Plus, subscribe to At Bat Premium to get the best action all season, including the MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live White Sox baseball. There was a sentence missing there, honestly.
Well, that's all right. I mean, the fact that you know it verbatim and have memorized it.
Was that David Letterman, by the way? Did you see him?
I saw those pictures of David Letterman, yes. I think that Yule Gibbons look he's sporting is very nice.
First pitch is strike to Carlos Sanchez.
Craggy Vista, I would say that David Letterman is sporting these days.
To shortstop, Gregorio Petit. And off the bag, Walsh couldn't hold the line. Sanchez safe at first.
One of the reasons why you hustle down the line is the fact that not all throws are right on the money. This one, just a stray, and fortunately, no collision at first base.
Leadoff man on for the Sox for the third inning in the last 4. When Travis Ishikawa swings through a ball down low. So Ishikawa with a homer against his former team the other day, the Giants. Was back on Tuesday, and it turned out to be the game winner.
Ishikawa's been looking pretty good, both with the glove and the bat.
Stoney, you know, today's a big day in American history.
Okay, take me back to the year.
1958.
Take me back to the month.
I don't know the month.
Take me back to the day. Today. Take me back to the guy who did it.
Take you back to your car. Do the rest of the game alone. 0-2. Popped up. Third base side. Pennington is there. One down. 1958. Elvis Presley was drafted into the United States Army for a 2-year stint. And without that stint, we never would have had clam bake.
Yes, quite a film. 1958, huh?
Uh-huh. Major day in American history.
Couldn't have won that war without him. Which war was that exactly?
It was the war against clam bake, which rages on at video stores everywhere. And there's a strike. Throw to first is not in time. Well, Sox trying to come back here in the 8th after 4 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th for the Angels.
They were able to do it a couple of days ago against the Giants, coming back late with a couple of home runs in the 6th, only to come up a winner in that game.
No play of that foul ball.
I think they're going to be happy with Tyler Skaggs. I don't know the resolution of this particular inning for him, but I think they were looking for his ability to get the ball over the plate and throw it over with something on it. After not pitching for as long as he has, you wonder what you're going to come back with. And I do know that long after the physical aspects of any injury are gone, the psychological aspects of an injury hang around for a while.
How so?
I remember coming back from an arm injury, and I was protecting my arm, although I didn't really get a good feel for it. And that night at dinner, my father was invited to Sarasota when I played for the Sox, and he asked me what I was doing. I said, pitching. He says, no, you're not. You're not letting the ball go. And his tip to me was, throw it as hard as you can, and if your arm falls off, do something else.
Throw to second is high, and Sanchez safe.
But it turned out to be really good advice, because what he was telling me in his own way was, you can't protect yourself if you're out there pitching. If you're worried about hurting your arm again, then you're probably going to hurt something else, another part of your arm or some part of your body. So because I had played a bit and I was no longer a prospect, but at that point a suspect until I was proven healthy, he said, throw it. Worst that can happen is you find something else to do, and this career is not going to make it.
But don't leave anything out there,
no.
Essentially, is the idea.
No, you can't protect yourself in any aspect of sports. When you start protecting yourself, it's the worst thing you can possibly do, and you've got to find out. And the best place to find out if you can do it is spring training. And that year, I went on to win 15 games for the White Sox. That very entertaining White Sox team called the Southside Hitmen, which was delightful for a long time in 1977, only to fall short and watch Kansas City pass us by.
Here is Montilla, who began the double play in the top of the inning. Venezuelan-born infielder Montilla sprays this one foul. He came up through the Diamondbacks organization. His first pro year was 2009, and maybe his best year was in Visalia in the California League with 28 doubles, 19 homers, and 72 driven in. Where he played for the Rawhide with Tyler Skaggs. In fact, he was a teammate of Skaggs in advanced A ball.
It had to be with the Angel organization at that point. I was in Visalia.
For how long?
Right up the road from Fresno. That was my first team, the Fresno Giants. And Visalia at that point was the Mets. The Mets California League club. A lot of good baseball played in Central California.
When Skaggs had been shipped off to Arizona in between his two stints with the Angels, so they played together briefly in the Diamondbacks organization when Skaggs was coming up through that system.
It's kind of interesting that the Angels thought so much of him that they got him back.
To right field and a base hit. Sanchez scores after the wild pitch and error. It is 6-5.
Just a little looper. Going to put it in a better spot. And that narrows the lead. So the Sox trying to fight their way back into this one.
Two-out rally, and Davidson gets another at bat. He's 0 for 3 today.
Outfield has moved way back at all three positions, respecting the power of Matt Davidson.
Be a good time for that 5th homer this spring, huh?
He can put it out any part of the ballpark. We certainly know that.
Behind the fastball, 0-2 on Davidson. Montilla at first, 1 run in. That is strike 3, and Davidson is out looking for the second time today. But the Sox are within 1 after 8. The Angels with the lead over the Sox, and the new pitcher coming on for the Chicagoans, Steve Stone.
Another valuable member of the pen, a guy that has got to do well if his pen, working as a group, is going to be successful, and that's Jake Petrichka. Jake's got very good stuff. On for the 6th time. He's 1-0. His ERA 2.25. He's been asked to save a game, was not successful. 5 hits in 4 innings. Overall, left-handers haven't done much with him. He caught a break earlier this spring in the first game we televised, taking a line drive high off the right bicep. Unfortunately, just a bruise, and that was that, as that young lady certainly enjoying her day at the ballpark. We're a lot of kids here among the 6,000 plus.
That youngster just took a little bit of a spill over on the
It can happen.
grassy berm. Cliff Pennington, who grounded out last time in the 7th, stands in against Petrichka. This ball carries and is off the wall. Leadoff double for Pennington.
Those of you who have watched a few games, especially those of the Oakland Athletics, might remember Cliff Pennington. He played infield there for many years.
Ray Navarro 1 for 1 in the game, batting in the spot previously occupied by Cole Calhoun. And Navarro bunts it foul.
Great jabbed at that, and that's not the type of technique you want for a bunt. You want to lay the bat out there and then try to catch it with the baseball. And Navarro came up empty on that attempt.
You know, one notable thing for the Sox here is with all these defensive changes, the last guy left in the lineup from the regular starting 9 today has been Matt Davidson this afternoon, which at least logically seems like the Sox want a longer look at him as a, you said, outside chance, but still a possibility, still in Major League camp as somebody who could help on the bench.
Especially with giving him some reps at first base. I think that's the telltale sign that they're looking at him for something further down the road, because you never know what happens. I mean, he's certainly been impressive this spring. He has changed some things mechanically from his hand position and getting better defensively. Now you realize that by acquiring Todd Frazier, third base is not going to be an option for a bit unless you're going to rest him every now and then, which is probably going to happen.
Navarro to right. Jason Coates skates in for round number 1.
But I think it's a good sign that they're giving him some reps at first base and maybe a shot in the outfield every now and then. Let him catch some fly balls, let him get used to it.
Again, he was a pitcher throughout high school, decided that he was going to take up hitting essentially a couple years into high school. Davidson, that is. Picked up third base, took him a couple of years, finally feels comfortable. And now over at first, has taken some very small opportunities and reps at shortstop in his career. See what he becomes.
You do know one thing, and this has been the case in baseball for a lot of years. If he can indeed hit the ball consistently, they will find a spot to play him. And this is the kind of guy I am. You know, just we're in the infancy stages of our partnership here, but I want to know if you would like to have this Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim information guide from 2016 that weighs about 8 pounds, and we're going to play them early in the season. Would you like to carry this around with you? I mean, it's a spiral guide, everything you want in a guide.
Well, I haven't written anything, but I'd like to thank my family. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank you, Steve Stone, for being there for me with this lovely trophy of this game with the Angels. Thank you. I will cherish it and read it for weeks.
That means you are going to leave it here, right?
Yeah, very likely. Will you sign it for me, Mr. Stone?
Absolutely. Who do you want me to sign? Bill Murray? Somebody else?
I'm Bill Murray.
And we have a break in the action as Brian Ball comes out. Apparently, Stu Sherwater.
We had a break in the action 3 minutes ago.
He has a problem that Brian Ball
has rectified, it seems. He's refurbished.
That was what one of your people on what, Tweedledee or Tweedledum? What are they doing?
You see, you play the technology dunce, and I only think you're a partial dunce.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Just like a 60% dunce?
Yeah.
Okay.
A D- dunce.
I'll take that.
Well, we're ready for action.
Thank goodness.
The players are, at least. Petrichka throws to second. See, now that's artful. You get the 3-4 minute delay, see if the runner is lingering.
And then go behind him and try to pick him off, which is a good thing. And we've seen in the games that we've done a pickoff at third, a pickoff at second, a pickoff at first base by the pitcher with runners at first and second. So things a lot more adventuresome this particular season, because you'd have to feel that Robin knows he has the personnel to do it. And if you have the personnel to do it, you might as well show it, and you never know what happens. You have to have that. You have to have the run-throughs. You have to be able to do it in a game, and no better time than spring training to get used to it.
Ball 4, 2 on, 1 out for an Angels offense that has turned up the heat in the 6th and 7th, the late innings today, with 4 in the 6th off of Chris Sale, 2 in the 7th against Zach Putnam. And here is the 4 spot and Ortega. I will take that media guide, by the way.
Here.
I will keep it.
There you go.
Thank you. I'll cherish it forever.
Already has a name on it, however.
Yeah, there's somebody else's name on it.
Yeah, it does.
So, 1-0 on Ortega. 2 on, 1 out in the Angels' ninth. Low, 2-0.
You guys hand me down on this?
On the outside corner, 2-1. I mentioned we'll be with you again coming up on Saturday. That's a noon Pacific, 2 o'clock Central Time start with the Cincinnati Reds. Hope you can join us for that game. Carlos Rodon scheduled to pitch for the Sox.
We haven't seen Jose Quintana.
Are you over in the corner somewhere, Stoney?
Yes, again.
Stoney's in a tin can at this moment. We'll try and get him out. 2-2.
Pillow.
How was your foray into the tin can? Strike 3, Petrichka. 2 out. Back in business.
Apparently those government surplus headphones that aren't working particularly well as we take a look at the last pitch. And Jake, trying to pitch his way out of a jam, gets the benefit of a call that nobody cares about in spring training. Except maybe the hitter.
Here is Buss. He takes the ball inside. Do you remember your best spring training?
I do, and it didn't turn out particularly well. Trying to make the White Sox team with Chuck Tanner at the helm. I gave up 2 earned runs all spring. He brought me in, congratulated me on being the 4th starter, which I thought was just dandy. Until he informed me that before I got too excited, he was only going with 3 starters. And with that look of incredulity on my face, I said, 3 starters. Wow, how can you do that? Because we want to get Wilbur Wood 1,000 innings, he said, or something like that. And I said, oh, terrific. So they went with 3 starters most of the year. And that was that.
Bouncing ball to second, and Montilla handles it well. The Sox finish off the Angels in the ninth. 2 to win is what it takes for the Sox. 6-5 your score. Sox are trailing by a run going into the bottom of the ninth. The lower third of the order will bat, and the Angels dip into the bullpen one more time. Steve Stone.
The son of a Cy Young Award winner, Cam Bedrosian, whose father Steve won the Cy Young Award when I believe he was with the San Francisco Giants. Been a busy man this spring, on for the 9th time. He's 1-1. His ERA .519. Overall, 8 2/3 innings, 13 strikeouts. And he's got a 1-run lead to protect.
He'll face Jerry Sands first for the Sox. Saw Jerry hit 2 homers in that game at Oakland in Mesa earlier on in the week. Fastball in for a strike. 1987 Cy Young winner Steve Bedrosian.
Not easy for a closer to win the Cy Young Award. You have to have a lot of things happen in the same year. You have to have starters who really don't dominate, because if starters dominate, more times than not, they're going to have the advantage in the voting. Guillermo Hernandez was also a Cy Young Award winner. Mark Davis, Cy Young Award winner. All closers.
Sands went around 1-2. That year, the elder Bedrosian, a .283 ERA, 89 innings, 79 hits. One-two. Called strike 3. Sands didn't like the call and froze. One away.
Let's take another look at it. It's pretty hard to miss a fastball right down the middle, but that's exactly what happens. Sometimes a catcher will go out there with a frog in his glove, and it just pops right back out. But he was able to spring on it and make the play.
One out for Saladino, who gets a hook for a strike. Tyler 0 for 3 today. 2 on the infield. And a fly ball to right. Sox had won 6 of 8 coming into this game. Ball and a strike. Three homers this spring for Saladino after 4 last season. Pretty good stuff.
Yep. That's why he's fan 13 in 9 innings so far. Houston Street, the closer of this team, at 40 saves last year.
Saladino up the middle. Tough play on the backhand. Navarro, nicely done.
Well, he got a lot on that throw for going to his right, jumping in the air, and having to get across in a hurry. But that's exactly what he did. A fine play. The second out of the inning. This would have been the tying run aboard.
Did he get a lot on that throw? My goodness.
Just by that throw, it would appear to me like he's played mostly shortstop during the course of his career, because the natural second baseman doesn't get it across like that out of the air.
One out to play with for the Sox, and Sanchez will bat. Strike one. One strike remaining for the Sox, who got a home run from Brett Lawrie in the 6th, the homer from Jimmy Rollins in the 1st. They led for Chris Sale 2-0, but the Angels countered with 4 in the 6th, including a Mike Trout home run. On 0-2. Just off the plate.
Pretty good pitch for an 0-2 pitch. You like to throw it just out of the zone, make it hopefully tantalizing enough for a hitter to expand that zone. But Sanchez didn't.
Tap foul by Sanchez. Sox will play at Seattle tomorrow in Peoria. And home for the Reds. That's our next game coming up on Saturday. Again, different time Saturday. It's 2 Central Time. An earlier start with a doubleheader here at Camelback Ranch that day. A split facility between the Sox and Dodgers. One and 2. It remains.
You have gigantic off-day plans tomorrow? Off day for us before we broadcast.
Yeah, I was planning to go to dinner with Steve Stone, but maybe that invitation has been rescinded.
No, I was referring to not the evening, but the day part of this.
Oh, no. I do not.
Okay, I was thinking about taking you to the Aquatic Museum that's out in Globe.
Is that a really nice way of saying you were thinking about drowning me?
No, I want to expand your horizons. It's actually beautiful out there.
There's a beautiful horizon here already. Why would I need to expand it?
I don't know. Anytime you can get a chance to see a platypus, you take that opportunity.
Words to live by. 2-2. And strike 3. That, as they say, will do it. Stoney, your final thoughts baseball-wise on today's affair?
The Sox have been doing something that will hold them in good stead during the course of the year, and that's scoring first in a lot of games that we've done. Scoring first in a lot of games this spring. They did it again today. Couldn't get the job done. At the end of the day, it was nice to see Chris Sale knocking at the door 90 pitches. Overall, once again, this team hit the ball out of the ballpark. And we're going to be at it in 2 days, and we look forward to it.
Carlos Rodon will throw for the Sox in that game. For our director, Jim Angio, our producer, Michelle Godwin, our associate producer, Chris Kamka, our tech manager, Mark Harper. The executive producer is Jim Corno Jr. For Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti saying so long, everybody. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.
Honda believes in helping